We're into the North American launch titles now, paltry as they might be. There were technically only 3, and none of them were strictly new games. Some sources list Centipede as a launch title, but this came out a good couple of weeks after the fact. Otherwise, Statesiders would see Tetris DX, Game & Watch Gallery 2, and this, a colorized re-release of a title that came out in 1997 on the original Game Boy in Japan, and at some point in '98 in Europe. Slim as the pickings might have been for owners of the new console in North America, at least the quality was there. Sure, Game & Watch might be a little too rudimentary for some people's tastes, but it can't be denied that these galleries were really well done, when put out by Nintendo at least. And of course, you can't go wrong with Tetris. It's a shame Wario Land 2 and Dragon Warrior Monsters weren't also launchers, both very strong titles that Japan got. Europe got the new console around a week later and suffered from much the same problem. I suppose it's fair to say that killer releases weren't entirely necessary to sell what was a really cheap new console, seeing as how the near decade's worth of Game Boy games worked just fine on it, and were still being released and sold. The top titles could come later. Pocket Bomberman was the final of something like 5 different DMG Bomberman games, not counting spin-offs and guest appearances, and takes a little bit of a different approach to the top-down maze arenas you'll be used to if you've played any of these before. The levels have a high emphasis on platforming and are viewed side-on. You plant bombs as usual and they still detonate in their crosshatch manner, but this time the blast is occurring upwards and downwards as well as left to right. Bomberman is 1 tile high and can jump 3 in the air, planting bombs as he does so, which is kinda cool and also necessary. There are plenty of destroyable blocks that often hide power-ups, the same ones you know, with a couple of new ones, and the aim is, as usual, to kill all the enemies and then find the exit. You'll travel through 5 different worlds, each with their own themes and level features, and it's the usual 4 normal stages followed by a boss fight. Some deft platforming is needed throughout this game, and it utilizes a cool mechanic where placing a bomb in mid-air allows you to use it as a platform, provided you're quick enough to leap off before getting exploded. Other than that, this is largely the same. There are a few inventive level features, such as walls that only retract when you place a bomb at the very top, as well as floors that rotate if you stand on them. It's a shame that there are only 25 levels this time, and there are no power-ups to earn once you beat a boss. As well as this main game, however, there is a new game called Jump Game, whereby you have a vertically scrolling level with enemies and power-ups scattered about, and a boss at the very top. Bomberman is constantly jumping, but you can't stop him, you can only place bombs. Make sure you collect as many power-ups as possible before challenging the boss, as these are very tricky. Once dead, you can progress higher up the towers. As usual with a new Bomberman entry, there's enough new stuff to attract fans without radically departing from the formula. You might as well get the colour one, of course, as it's quite pretty and was a safe choice to showcase the new console's abilities. Hudson are one of those companies you intrinsically just trust. You see that B, you know you're more than likely getting a well-presented little game that doesn't stray too far out of its own lane. Pocket Bomberman is quite a refreshing take on the series that got missed by a lot of people the first time around, and so definitely justified this colour version. The next time we'll see our pyrophile buddy, however, is where the franchise takes a major left turn. It's not many episodes from now that Bomberman Quest attempts to instill an RPG world into this blow-everything-up gimmick. Don't immediately turn your nose up at the concept, it works considerably better than you might think it would.